and welcome to this special edition of Velocity Radio Podcast. You've got me, the host here today, Ben, and I'm with Brian, the Huxley.
I forgot about that.
You forget about that, Brian?
Very good.
So Brian is our sports massage tutor, specialist should I say, here at Velocity PT Academy. And Brian's the one with all of the experience, and Brian is the one that basically hosts all the classroom-based sports massage level 3 and level 4 qualifications for us. Many years in game, haven't you, Brian?
Very many, yeah.
Very many years in game. Not to put a number on you though.
No.
So yeah, I've kind of given the listeners a brief introduction about what you do for us, Brian, but by all means you can introduce yourself here, so go on, Brian.
Yeah, I'm Brian, obviously. Like you said, I'm the lead tutor for the sports massage section. I've been in the industry for 23 years.
23?
This month, 23 years.
This month?
Yes, quite a long time. I qualified in 96.
Yeah.
So that's right, isn't it?
Yeah, 96.
23 years.
I hope.
Yeah. Complete change of direction. Prior to that, I was working in manual labour before that. So
right.
I was doing like construction, working on utilities, digging roads, doing things like that,
Yeah.
which I did enjoy. But I used to look around, and when you've got ambitions in certain areas, I was doing quite a lot of training at the time, so I used to go to the odd physio occasionally, for things like shin splints I used to suffer with, and different things like that. Got interested, thinking about what they did. And cut a long story short, I come across a course in Barnsley, at Barnsley College, which were like a 3-in-1 course, so it covered sports therapy, massage and exercise,
Right.
so PT work and things like that. Back in the day, it were quite a unique course, because as far as I know, prior to that, you could do either one of those courses but not together, combining it, so that they were running it as a bit of a pilot.
Right.
And we were guinea pigs in a way, we were first ones on that course. Anyway, so I decided to take the plunge. It was a year course, so it started in, I think it was July 95, and we graduated in July 96.
Was that
So
a
it
full-time
was 12,
course?
yeah.
Every day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was 3 and a bit days.
Right.
So 3 and a bit days.
It's quite comprehensive then.
It were, because from a financial point of view, I've got 2 little kids, and it was a case of, literally I had to stop my job. So it would have, it didn't cause any strain, but obviously financially, there weren't a lot happening.
Yeah.
A couple of days that I got off, I got a little bit of work with my brother back on construction, and it sort of got us through.
Yeah.
My wife back in the day, ex-wife, she was doing a bit of work as well, so financially we were okay. But the course itself was excellent.
Yeah.
Like I said, mainly sports therapy, all the basics covered, really heavy going from my point of view, because when I qualified from school, I didn't have any qualifications.
Right.
I'm dyslexic.
Right.
I'm left-handed, so it affects me writing. And back in them days, in early mid 70s, early 80s. It weren't really recognised at all.
Right.
It just put to the back of the room. I know it sounds like a violin moment, but it did. It just weren't recognised at all. And you sort of you start going into into like a bit of a shell, because you don't think you're capable.
Yeah.
So moving back on, when I come onto this course, I was not sure that I could actually do it, because academically I've not really got any skills or anything. But speeding on, when we got to the end of course, I did get a distinction overall, so it was really good to realise, to realise that you can, you have got the tools, you can do stuff. And apparently I've since learned since then that people who are dyslexic are very creative, and that's a bit of a strength of mine, you know, rather than looking in books, I can sort of work things out, you know, in not just this industry, in other industries.
Did you find yourself as a bit more of a kinesthetic learner as well?
Definitely.
So you were more hands-on, and with like therapy and being a physical practitioner, it's more of a hands-on role.
Of course, yeah.
So did you find that almost learning style suited your needs?
It suited me perfectly. I mean, don't get me wrong. I did have my moments where you've got to get your head in books. And you've got to try and learn as best you can from that point of view. But from having a book in front of me, and then being in a classroom environment, you know, and touching the skeleton or anything anatomically, boom, just went straight in, really quiet.
Because it were almost like you can read it from a book, or a tutor can tell you about it, but then you're actually feeling the muscle, you're feeling the joint almost, and the manipulating the bones almost.
You do, and I see it transgresses that a little bit in from a teaching point of view, because you can put yourself in the seat, you know, of a student, and quite often I'll think, you know, you find yourself sort of stood up there, you know, trying to tell them which theoretically you've got to do that, obviously. But as soon as we put that to one side and we get the skeleton out, you know, and we start working with it, and we're hands-on, and we're maybe even drawing on the muscles, drawing on the body, manipulating, you know, I can see that people think, bam, you know, their
head is dropped almost. I think that's sometimes a difficult thing, because I'll always come with the background of personal training. When I used to teach the anatomy side in personal training, it weren't as hands-on as, say, like your sports massage one. So it wasn't like, right, these are the muscles in the quadriceps, go and feel them on your partner. If you were to do that in a PT class, it'd be a little bit like, hold on a minute, where do I write my letter of complaint? So it's sometimes it can be quite, you're up almost preaching to people. Right, these are the different muscles, you should need to know these when you come to do exercise, whereas you kind of get that full circle of learning when it comes to it in your sports massage, because these are your muscles, go away and feel them, and then you're actually being able to draw that picture in your head better, aren't you?
We do. We have a thing in class now where when I want them to learn a particular muscle, what I've started asking them to do is they become that muscle.
Right,
So you might
role play.
You might have the glute max. Do you mean? But you are.
Are you trying to say I'm an ass?
No.
Right.
Only a little bit. Maybe glute minimus, not as bad.
Oh right, not as bad. Just a little. Abs.
So I'll give you that one as an example, and I might give somebody else, you know, abs. So you're the abs. Does that make sense? So that when they come back, they've got to research it, and obviously, you know, study it a little bit. And when they come back, they've got to stand up. And we had a guy on the course the other week, and he was doing the glute max. But he did it like the gladiator.
Oh, like gluteus maximus.
My name is gluteus maximus. And what we do is we'll say, right, where are you from originally, which is the origin of the muscle.
Right.
And so where are you residing now? You know, that's like your insertion.
That
makes sense. And also, what's your job? What do you do for a living? You know, well, this is what I do. You know what I mean, from an anatomical point of view. And then also, what's your family? Which are the neighbouring muscles? What's the different?
Synergists and stuff.
And I can remember doing that back then. You know, there was a woman that was brilliant anatomy wise, and that's exactly what she did. She used to give us a muscle to be every single week, or a couple of muscles a week, and we learnt it brilliant. You know, so. But we're still doing it obviously hands-on, so we're palpating a particular area. Do you know what I mean? So that reinforced with that, it works brilliant.
Perfect. And I mean, results speak for themselves as well, Brian, because you've qualified quite a number of students, haven't you?
So far, so good.
So far, so good. Yeah, they've got past their exams and everything. That's all good. So let's talk a little bit about, Brian, when you graduated 23 years ago, then, and you got into delivering your therapy. So, what was kind of like your scale it back? What were your first thoughts, if you can remember, like when you got qualified? Or like, shit, what do I do?
I remember it vividly. I can remember thinking, because you've got to remember that most people that I knew back then were still in my old job. still in that environment.
Yeah.
And because I was a little bit skint,
Yeah.
it's dead easy to get dragged back into that. You know, come on, we've got this job for you. You know, on house building or wherever it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's, and then I can remember thinking, well, how on earth am I going to get into, you know, treating people? Because I think we mentioned earlier, didn't we? If you're not in that environment or you're not around them people that's doing what you want to do, it fades, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You end up doing something you obviously don't want to do.
Yeah.
So I qualified in July '96, and the very next year, early '97, I got an opportunity to a large leisure centre in Barnsley, Metrodome.
Barnes Metrodome, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been off top board in there.
Have you?
Well, no, I haven't. I'm too scared.
I've jumped off it, I dare.
I'm on baby board.
And the manager at the time, I went in and had a chat with him, and thankfully he had a little room. In fact, it was just a storeroom.
Right.
You know, it was in a right mess. So we negotiated a rent, which, believe it or not, back then I was paying 20 quid a week.
20 quid a week for a room,
80 quid a month it were for a
hell.
room, yeah. So
that's cheap.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. You wouldn't get a square metre, would you?
Would you bloody hell, no.
Office environment. So I took it on board. Myself and my wife at the time, we totally gutted it, cleaned it. But the point I'm getting to, once it eventually was fit for purpose, you know, got all the posters up, fresh liquor paint, everything. There comes a time where you sat there thinking,
these are clients.
right, you know, when are they going to come in? Because I don't know if you've had that in the past. When you're setting up a new venture, people coming out at woodwork, or I'll be there, I'll come and out and I'll come and see you. I've got a knee problem, a shoulder, and it weren't quite as do you know what I mean, as flattering as that in reality. You know, you got 2 or 3 people started coming in, but there comes that point where I can see students now in the same situation where they're sat, you know, twiddling the thumbs, thinking, when's this first client coming in? And you feel as though you've forgotten everything. And then skipping ahead after that, you know, after 2 or 3 clients, and especially coming in with complex problems. By the way, I had a good referral network. You know, I referred to a couple of physios who specialised in knee and shoulder problems, and chiropractors and things like that. So, you know, you get you limited. But it were a level 3.
Yeah.
It were a level 3 high-tech level 3.
Right.
So you know your limitations, but yeah.
Right. So I think that sometimes some things that when it comes to a course or when it comes to learning an academic qualification, you learn the trade, but then you don't learn the job almost.
Exactly.
And the side of that obviously was missing was the sales side of things, the marketing side of things.
Yeah, because they don't teach you that, of course.
It's exactly. It's like when you go to school, they don't teach you about finances and paying your taxes, unfortunately. So much similar like what I found in further education academic qualifications, personal training, sports massage. You go to a training provider, they'll teach you those tools that you need to do the role, but they don't teach you how to successfully do the job. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's kind of where we've tried to nip that in the bud now. So I mean, I was showing you around it all this morning and everything, the members portal, and we've got things on there such as like how to pay your taxes, do your accounts, how to get clients, and like how to make money online and all that type of stuff. So that's kind of where hopefully trying to take it to that next level now as a private educational company and actually teach how to become successful as well. So would you have found that a need back then, maybe?
Oh, definitely.
Almost somebody to kind of say, hold on a minute, where do I get my first clients from? Well, this is how you can do it.
Yeah, because just giving you an example, I charged a particular amount back then. It was something like 15 quid.
Yeah.
You know, per client for a particular problem-based area or whatever.
But this is back when you were paying £20 for your room. Do you know what I mean? So it's all.
Oh yeah. I mean, I made some decent money at some points in it. But the problem were that I had a guy from Harley Street, osteopath, come and see me. You know, colleagues. We'd done some workshops together and what have you. And
Yeah.
he come and observed me one day, and he says, I can't believe you're only charging 50. You just charge that person 15 quid. Forget
Yeah.
what the problem were or whatever. I says, well, I don't feel like I'm up to a certain standard, you know, I'm not like a physiotherapist, this, that, other. And he says, you need to double your price.
Yeah.
You know, because he'd learnt me, you know, I'd learnt quite a bit off him, you know, and I were okay, I were getting really good results. And funny enough, it snowballed. As soon as I doubled my price, people started coming in and
Yeah.
you know, because prior to that, probably the last thing they used to ask you is, you know, how much. So when I used to say like 15 quid, whatever it were,
Yeah.
you used to get a bit of a pause, you know, and I'll be in touch.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
and see you later. And it never happened. So as soon as I, you know, and it's all about value. So that what first, you know, lesson that I learned is to target your price accordingly.
I think that's sometimes when you go into a trade, especially when you're new as well, when you go into a new trade, like sports massage and personal training, you feel new, so then you almost feel,
Of course.
because you'd have done this for free in past, so
Oh,
then you
yeah,
almost
yeah,
feel
yeah.
like guilty for charging people for it now. But it comes to a point where you need to actually value what you do as a trade,
Of course.
much like a painter decorator would, much like a bricklayer would, or a joiner.
You
or
do.
somebody.
You won't get a plumber coming round and doing a survey on your house or checking the boiler or whatever it is, and then just saying, oh, you know what, I'll just charge you a tenner or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Because if they did, what would you think?
Yeah.
You'd
You don't
think,
it's
"Oh,
value in it. You just don't value them at what it should be.
Yeah. And like you said, it's quite the different idea that you thought, right, if I'm going to double my price, it's going to shoot people away. They're not going to come in.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, there's affluent people living in every town and city, and they're willing to pay a certain fee for a certain product. And things like, maybe back in the day, things like personal training and sports massage therapy may have been more of a luxury rather than a commodity.
It is.
Whereas, so then people who were able to pay for those luxuries are able to pay.
I mean, I used to have
proper
people
price for those
coming
luxuries.
from all over the place, and they were you know, we had a thing called checkbooks back in the day. You know, I don't know if you remember them back then.
Oh, what are they?
I know, yeah. And they used to be writing a check out for you know, a certain amount.
Yeah.
Say I'd charge them, I don't know, 30 quid, and it was like 100 quid or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember a few scenarios where people were saying, look, we've been all over the place, nobody's been able to help, I really want to, you know,
Right, yeah.
go on then if you insist. Do you know what I mean? Which is not only value, but you're getting results.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to what you said about the business stuff, yeah, I think you are left.
Do your own devices.
You are, yeah. And I think you pick it up a little bit, but having that right from start, such as what you guys are doing,
Yeah.
it's essential, because you can't have one without other. You can be best PT, best massage therapist, best tutor, whatever it is. If you don't know how to keep the business going.
Yeah, exactly. And then there always used to be a talk I used to do for a business talk. You can be the best practitioner in the world, but if nobody knows that you are one, you might as well not be one, have you? Because you need to actually be out there, be proactive. And it comes down to the fact that just if you wanted to become self-employed, you've got to understand that there's a commodity there, that there's nobody to sometimes turn around and say, is this right? So, because you're the only person in that room and doing that job.
You're on your own, really.
Like you said it earlier, it can be quite a lonely role sometimes, can't it? Being a
I think it works other way as well. I think you can be best, you know, you can be absolutely blinding at business, whatever. If it's a service industry, which is what we're in, you know, as a PT or a massage therapist, you can be the best at business if you don't know how to do basics at job.
And that's when it comes through. I mean, you will get called out soon. Well, probably very soon, if you were that way on. Yeah. But there needs, like you said, there needs to be a balance of it, and like it comes into that whole self-employment route. You need to be you've got to be a jack of all trades, almost master of none, if you know what I mean. You need to be able to spin all of the plates and not just leave one plate to fall. So Brian, I've got a little present for you, mate. There you go.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, so what that is, it's protein beer.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, told you what it does.
So, well, there's a good job that's no, that's alcoholic free protein.
Oh, is it?
beer.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice
So
one.
you can down that in 30 seconds.
It's not being shook up, is it? It's not.
No, I mean, well, it's only been in my pocket, so if it does go all over, it's. Oh, there we go.
Is it beer then? Really?
Yeah, it's protein beer. Go on, have a taste. Have a taste. So, for guys that are listening, this is protein beer that we had sent to us from a German company actually called Joybrow.
All right.
And it's a protein non-alcoholic beverage that you're supposed to drink after your workout.
Yeah, that's the one.
So
not too bad, actually.
big up to. Do you like it?
Yeah, it's all right.
What would you? Where would you rank it in your beer list? So I mean, like if you had to
it would be way down. I've got to admit, but
it would be way down. What's at the top of your beer list though? Just so then I can have a perception.
Caffrey's. I do like a pint of Caffrey's.
What's a Caffrey's?
Caffrey's. It's a bitter.
Oh, is it? I've never heard of it. To be honest.
It's made by Guinness, I think.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah.
It's not bad at all. It's growing on me.
What is it? I haven't tasted it. Is it like a fruity, zesty, or is it a bitter?
You know when you hear about smooth.
Right, it's a smooth beer.
Like beers, yeah.
It's at least smooth.
Super smooth.
Yeah.
But it is. Trouble is, it goes down too quick.
Well, it doesn't matter if that one does because you'll just be having protein.
I've started doing that. I was telling you that before, though.
Non-alcoholic beer.
When I'm out. Yeah, I have a few beers, normal beers, and then I've had I have 2-3 alcohol-free.
Yeah, just a balance
And it
box.
keeps you.
Yeah,
So,
keeps you. You'll know your way home after that. Then.
Yeah. Quite nice though.
Happy days, mate. No, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
So Brian, we'll get on to again when you were a therapist. Then, so have you worked with sports teams before?
Yeah. When I opened clinic, after it being open about 18 months,
You're speaking to Mike.
I started to get opportunities with sports clubs.
Yeah.
Started off, amateur clubs such as your normal Sunday league football.
Yeah.
So I would do them a deal, I'd charge the club X amount and then the players would come in and give me a $5 or whatever it was.
Right, yeah.
So that worked out quite well, and then it extended to Barnsley Football Club. I did a bit of work with their guys,
Barnsley?
sports department. Liverpool, did a bit of work with Liverpool.
Did you?
Yeah,
Football?
So the football.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, the trouble is some of the top clubs, as much as it's prestigious and good on your CV. So
Yeah.
it must be the beer.
Must be the beer, is it?
Excuse me.
Bit bubbly.
Yeah. They don't really pay a lot.
Right.
And I don't think a lot's changed, to be honest. Not when you first qualify, anyway. Excuse me. Maybe when you've been qualified a little while, you can negotiate some sort of wage.
Yeah.
What were the original question?
So I mean, like, what teams have you been with? So you said Sunday League.
Yeah.
You said then
Football
you
to start with.
dropped a few football teams. Yeah.
Barnsley, and then it were rugby. I worked with Doncaster Rugby Club. I think they're still at a decent level.
Right. Yeah.
Because the reason I wanted to do it is when you just sat in a clinic and you're waiting for injuries, like somebody to come with a knee problem or a shoulder, you sort of get okay with it, but there's no substitute for going into an environment that gets lots of a particular injury.
I get you.
Does that make sense? So when I worked in football, a lot of it were ankle injuries, knee problems, lower limb injuries. Whereas rugby, you start getting good at shoulder, because you get a lot of clavicle dislocations, a lot of problems in shoulder in general. So I worked with Donny Rugby Club. I also worked in dance. I had the one that's just down the road, I think, SLP.
Right. SLP, yeah.
Studio La Point, that's what it stands for. That. So I worked for them for about 3 years. All these areas,
Yeah.
It just seemed to be really good and really busy for about a 3 or 4 year period.
Yeah.
I worked at another dance school in, I think it was in Nottingham, MADD, MAD, which was Midlands Academy and Dance and Drama.
Right, yeah.
So that were really good, but the dance side of stuff really opens your eyes, you know, because them guys are really athletes.
So what would you say the difference between massaging the dance guys were to, say for example, football and rugby?
Because they're so flexible in dance,
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about that, you see. So you're not forever saying, you know, here's some stretching exercises, where for rugby lads and the footballers, you're beginning nearly all your time will taken up by trying to increase flexibility. So that what took out of the equation, you know.
Yeah.
Within dance.
So it's just more your manual techniques. That
Yeah,
you're
so
doing
a lot of soft tissue stuff. Sometimes even stabilising joints, because sometimes a lot of the dancers were actually too, I wouldn't say hypermobile, but they were a little bit slightly too mobile. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
So instead of putting all your energy, you know, into doing stretching exercises, it was nearly all stability.
Got you.
Stability, making sure that areas were stable, so they weren't very, you know, too vulnerable.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool. And would you recommend that for people going post qualification? Then look for a wide scope. Don't just try and railroad yourself down.
I mean, if you're chasing pound sign, you know, and you're wanting to earn a lot of money, you know, then I can see why people might not want to do it. And we have quite an equal balance of students. Where some are in club work. We've got quite a few, in fact, working in rugby and different, you know, football, and they're wanting to take this solely into that environment.
Yeah.
You know, they don't see a clinical situation where they're in a clinic.
Yeah, where they get a room, for example, and then
and then the opposite is where people don't see any future in working in you know, like a rugby club or a sports environment, or working with athletes.
Yeah.
You know, they just see that they're going to be clinical.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where they're limited a little bit.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I
when I worked in rugby, you get good at working on shoulders, football, lower limb, dance, you know, lower back and certain areas there, and pelvis. I worked for the England cricket team for a while, so they were getting lots of impact problems on, you know, bowlers. When they're doing the
bowling,
the action of bowling. So I think overall, you know, and Wimbledon, I did a little bit for tennis.
Oh, England tennis. Yeah.
Yeah.
You go down to Wimbledon.
For 2-3 times. Yeah, I worked with the Gladiators. Do you remember the
Gladiators?
old one? Not. I think they were a recent new.
A couple of years ago it re-released. Yeah. If I say a couple of years ago, it'd have been like 8-9 years ago it re-released.
Wolf and Black Panther.
Right.
Somebody else. So all the original cast.
Brilliant.
You know, I was there originally as a massage therapist, and then I become a consultant.
Yeah.
You know, so we did a lot of work in that, and it's brilliant. So, just going back to what you said, I think it's imperative that people try to get involved in the local club. But just be aware, you know, you're probably not going to earn a lot of money at it. You know, even when I've worked in some higher end, you know, clubs, they think in their wisdom that, you know, to have it on your CV is good enough. You know, that you're working in with Liverpool Football Club or whoever it is.
Yeah.
And you might be looking to get your dinner, you know, get a lunch out of it and a bit of petrol money.
Yeah.
So if you're chasing the pound sign, you're probably not going to earn a lot. But the point I'm making is, to be an all-round therapist, you've got to do it.
You've got to do it. And
even if you just do event work.
Yeah.
You know, and become a member of a particular body, which is many out there now. You know, just for the first 12 months when you first qualify, just get involved and get doing the event work, such as the marathon, you know, London Marathon, or the different marathons in your local area, parkrun.
Yeah, parkrun.
You mentioned about parkrun before. That's massive now.
Yeah. Set up a bed next to parkrun, and I'm sure people are going to turn you down for either a pre-event.
Especially, I know, like you said before, it's a grey area really.
Yeah.
You know, but doing freebies, but it's got to have an end result.
Yeah, of course.
You know, every trade does a free something, or helps, or mates rates, or whatever it is that we do. But there's got to be an end result. You've got to get something from it.
And whether it's just publicity or whether it's just actually getting people to understand that you're a sports massage therapist, because it goes away from what we talked about earlier. And what I can see is that if you're working with a sports club, you're working with maybe like 15, 16, 17 different people, all different body shapes, all different kind of like soft tissue tension and stuff. And they obviously, if they get a knock when they're playing and they're needing actual treatment after, who are they going to go see? Well, I know this person.
It's a great opportunity, because if you're doing a pre-event, for example, pre-event sports massage, which is exactly what it says, before an event, you know, quite often you'll be the last person to see them before they go out on the pitch. And if you're doing a post-event, where they've just finished an event, obviously, and come in and see you, you're the first one to see them. So quite often you're in a unique position to be able to just take some notes down and work with the rest of the medical team. You know?
Exactly.
So it's essential that people do that, because if you're narrow-minded in that respect and you're just waiting for people to come in, it's not going to be long before you fade. You know, your skills start to fade.
And then you need to be on that front foot, don't you? You need to be the one banging the drum and getting out there.
Of course you do. And it's fun. I think that's the fun part of it, isn't it? It must be the same in the PT side of things. If you just stood with your arms folded hoping that somebody's going to come and...
You hear of it many times, and unfortunately some gyms that you go into, you see PTs just basically either sat on the phone, stood on the phone, not greeting people walking in, not being proactive on the front foot, being on the gym floor, helping people out and stuff. They're just bothered about what they post on Facebook, and hoping that people message them. Whereas that's few and far between, especially when you're first starting out and you haven't got a reason for people to message you.
It is. I mean, one of the things we do on courses when we teach, you know, when we start going through like the pre and post event, we try and make real scenarios of what it's going to be like. So if they're doing a pre-event, quite often I'll be going around tapping them on the shoulder, you know, with my watch, pretending to be the coach, saying, you know, when are we good, when's this person going to be out on field or on the court, you know, how long are you going to be? And it is a bit of tongue-in-cheek, bit of fun, but really screaming at them. You know what I mean? Getting them to really have that understanding just for a few minutes. You know,
well, if it's a real world scenario, they need to be ready for it for when it does happen.
I think that's what they need to do, you know, because I think we were on about before, I mentioned to you about a possible planning future, doing like a mentoring program where we potentially visit people that's newly qualified, who's on their own, like you said, been a bit daunting, been a little bit unsure. And we're just sort of putting it out there to see whether people want to be mentored every now and again. I mean, a lot of other industries do it, don't they?
Exactly. So I mean, there could be that gap there for that to happen, and like you say, just sometimes be that person that they can turn to and say, right, this opportunity's come up, do you think I should do it? And sometimes for somebody that's new to self-employment, that can be quite a daunting thing. Just to make your own.
I mean, if you just did an observation, and I'm sure it could work in potentially, I think, in PT perhaps, because they have a similar scenario where they go back into their own environment where they live, in their own little town or village. And then, not that you guys hadn't taught them some great stuff, but it's different in the training environment, isn't it? You know, when you're left to your own devices and you go back and you think, whereas if somebody come and observed you perhaps, like in a mentoring capacity.
Just to keep you upskilled. Definitely. So Brian, what mistakes do you think you've made in the past when you've been the sports massage therapist?
I think mistakes is quite a strong word. I think we are
on learning curves.
Missed opportunities, I think, is a big thing for me. I think I once had an opportunity of becoming an osteopath.
Right.
A colleague he just signed up, and he were looking for colleagues to sort of have a bit of support and do it with, you know, so that you've got that camaraderie and what have you. And I remember that, you know, I could have probably stretched to affording it. Bearing in mind, you're looking at 35 grand now, I think.
It's crazy if you were to go to university.
It's a second mortgage in it. In effect. But back then it were like, you know, there were really good financial planning in place. It were really doable. But I don't know if I didn't necessarily bottle it. I just it's back to your own circumstances, isn't it?
Yeah.
I always think that, you know, an opportunity never comes when you're ready for it. You know, you're not financially ready, you've not got time, you've not got this.
Yeah.
And I think that's the mistakes that I've made. I've not quite took some of the opportunities that's come.
Right. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, and any others in terms of like when you were practicing therapist, like have you been working with some sports teams and you may have done
I can remember making an individual slight error. It didn't kill anybody, obviously. But I remember a girl coming in who had, and this was really in the early days.
Yeah.
And she came in. She was a swimmer, and
Right.
she came in with a shoulder complaint. And I went through a period for about, not very long, thankfully, for about 4 months where I thought, oh, the bee's knees.
Right.
I mean, I thought, oh, I'm going to be really good at this. And
Yeah.
everybody's recovering, etc. Anyway, and she came in, and I got the area that were responsible for giving her a problem were the shoulder girdle,
Yeah.
and I treat it as a shoulder joint problem.
Right. Ball and socket.
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
All the shoulder girdle were just not stabilised.
It's got different
properly.
movements, haven't it?
Yeah.
The shoulder girdle to the ball and socket
Yeah,
shoulder joint. Yeah.
completely different. Work together, don't get me wrong, but in this scenario, and it were a massive wake-up call.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I didn't make anything worse, like I said, it was fine. I had to end up referring her.
Yeah.
But it got me, you know, it used to be a real bugbear to me ex-wife, because I'd have my head in the books 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, because I was not competitive. What's the word? You know, I couldn't let something go if I'm not quite grasped it.
You had to find out like what were the issue and stuff. But that's kind of a good thing, showing that it was a passion there for you to be able to do it. I mean, not many people in a call centre will say that they've been up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning or hitting books because they want to be able to smile and dial a bit harder.
I think sometimes best way to learn is get it wrong first.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you're not, like I said, hurting anybody, you know, and it's just mild mistakes. They're the real learning things, aren't they? I'm sure you've had it with your students in class. You know, if they're doing something slightly wrong, I always say, well done for that, because it's shown you how to actually do something better.
Exactly. You don't. If you were to do everything perfectly, right, you wouldn't be bloody growing and learning, would you? Because
it's them little mistakes that get you back on track.
It is.
So I've made a few of them, and you know,
well, that's a good reflective point that you've just made there, because I do think if you feel like you've learned a lot, if you take a lot of pride in what you do, and like you said, you might have gone through a good streak of getting everybody recovered, much like a personal trainer might go through a good streak of having some good transformations with clients, then all of a sudden you might feel a little bit untouchable, and that you but at the end of the day, the next person that walks through that door is still a completely different physiology to the last other people that you've just treated, completely different injury, like what you said. So it just shows that you should always not take for granted what kind of like mentality that you're in at that time.
I think it's frustrating, like you've just said, because again, we relate to PT and massage are very similar in some respects. Whereas a person will come in with an injury or a weakness that you want to work on.
Yeah.
And one will recover really well, and the next one, same age, same, do you mean, similar injury, whatever, and the other one just doesn't recover at all.
But
do you know what I mean?
There's so many different factors that can come along to it as well, though, isn't there, Brian? So
but you don't always get it, do you?
Yeah.
While you're doing it, later on, you know, you think, the penny drops. You know, it's X, Y, Z that you've missed.
Either that, or your client didn't tell you that they used to play a ton of tennis back in the day, and they had a shoulder dislocation.
They hardly ever listen to you, do they?
No.
You know, when you tell them to do something on it, like aftercare or whatever, when they're at home, and you try and simulate it to an everyday, what we call ADLs, activities for daily living. And they'll come back and say,
I managed to do it. Well, I only asked you to do 5 resistance band exercises every time you woke up in the morning. It's not particular. I'm not asking you to move every
And then the next person does it religiously. So
a lot of it can come down to that. That's been quite insightful, that, Brian, into the world of sports massage.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Really
so good.
Just before we wrap it up then, the reason I asked about your mistakes and everything, not to call you out. I mean, the reason I asked him is just to kind of show guys that are maybe going through that period where it is a little bit daunting and they are questioning everything that they're doing with the first couple of clients, is to not think, oh crap, I did this wrong, that must mean that I shouldn't be doing that. Well, no, they are learning curves that you do, and you need to learn from your mistakes.
I honestly believe that the qualification that you get in these industries, what we're both doing, is just permission to start learning.
Yeah.
It gives you a legal right to go out there. Well, legal, maybe not the right word, but definitely permission. That you've got the skills to go out there and start learning. Because as soon as a client comes in that wants, massage or rehabilitation or PT work, that's when you're learning it.
It is.
Do you know what I mean?
It is.
Because I know one of the problems that we have when we do the joint assessments on, the level 4, there's nothing to work on.
Yes.
We're assessing an ankle or a shoulder or a knee that's got no problems at all. It'd be great to have them queuing outside, with all ligament problems.
Oh, imagine that. Yeah, imagine if we could just go cherry pick from general population.
And then when they get the first one in,
who's
got a legitimate problem, it's actually easier.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like that fight, train hard, fight easy, isn't it?
Yeah, it was that old Bruce Lee saying that, is it? Yeah. But that's it. I mean, we wish we could honestly do that, but the logistics of pulling people in with a niggly.
I mean, I know outside on the front on a Sunday afternoon there's the kids football, isn't there? But I think it's different. It's with vulnerable adults. It's a little bit different. If there'd have been adults playing out there, we would have probably had them in, wouldn't we, and get them and offered them massages or treatments or whatever.
It'd be a bit crazy if we went out and started offering 7-year-olds ankle.
I don't think it'd go down like well.
No, I don't think it would. So Brian, just before we wrap this up then, mate, should we have a look at your website and socials and things for anybody that wants to get in touch? Because you still are a trading therapist, aren't you? You still do massage therapy. So you talked about your specialities as well. I mean, this is your website for anybody that's watching on YouTube. What is your website, sorry? So people that are just listening on Spotify and Apple Music, it's www.brianhuxley.co.uk. So it's saying there that you specialise in myofascial release, hypnotherapy. That's one area we did touch on, didn't it?
I got qualified back in '99 on that.
Really enjoyed NLP. Advanced clinical sports therapy. Brilliant. Lifestyle coaching.
Yeah, the potential in this area, I'm sure you know that, you can't limit yourself. I mean, even in corporate, I try and have an area in corporate, so that you can target
corporate
that
therapy.
as well. Yeah.
That's brilliant. So if anybody wants to contact you then, Brian, they can go onto your website. You got your phone number on your website?
Yeah. Contact details, everything.
Email address and everything. So where is it where you do your therapies, Brian? Now?
Well, as you probably know, I'm originally from Barnsley. Up this neck of woods. I'm actually living in Southport at the moment.
Southport, yeah.
Yeah, so it's probably that area, but again, because I'm up here so regularly, both areas can be accommodated, really.
Fantastic, no problems. And then just moving on, have you got any like Facebook or anything that people can contact you on?
I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook account. I have
Brian Huxley. That's you. Just search for Brian Huxley, and then you'll be able to contact you on there. Brilliant. So I think that's everything, and we'll call that a wrap, Brian.
Really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.